This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Thursday, the 23rd of October, 2025. We're so glad you could join us here today. Coming up a little later on in the program, we'll talk with Jason Meyer of agmarket.net and find out what happened in those markets. Grains had a positive day, livestock, not so much. We'll take a look at that, come up here in just a little bit. But first, we are going to be going back in one more time to Saskatoon to talk to the folks at the Allan Potash facility and talking with their general manager to find out more about what happens in that mine, what the operations are, what their future plans are, and much more.
Yeah, I came here in 1996 as a mechanical engineer and worked my way up. After a few years, there's an opportunity to become the chief maintenance engineer. And I spent some time supervising, some time in a general foreman role, and eventually became a superintendent. And then had an opportunity to become the general manager. That was my trajectory over the 29 years.
Yeah. Tell me about the amount of products that we're talking about, whether that's daily, annually, what goes on down there.
Sure. So we have the ability to produce 3.2 million tons of potash a year. So that's close to mining 10 million tons of ore in a year. Typical day here, we'll produce 10,000 tons of potash. We have the ability to ship 120 rail cars a day, so roughly 12,000. And we have close to 300,000 tons of storage. So we basically turn that over in a month. We can produce 300,000 tons a month and ship over 300,000 tons a month.
So, quick question then on from boring to going on the train car. Obviously, it could sit in a storage bin, but if you were going to think about it, to go through the process, if there was not going to be much of a hold-up time, about how long does it take to get from the boring to the train car?
Yeah, if it's straight through the bins and there's no hold-up time in storage, probably 3 to 4 hours from the bore all the way through the process and onto a train.
It's amazing. Wow. That really underlines the importance of running this plant as well as it can be run.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. Obviously mining the ore is critical, and then milling it into a final product, and then loading it. It's every component along the way is critical. Without any one of those, and we're shut down.
The things that I'm intrigued about. Once you mine an area, once you go through an area, then we back up and you go somewhere.
Yeah.
So just explain that, that process and what happens to that after you've pulled out of a hallway or path or whatever you call it.
Sure. So we have two types of mining. There's development mining and production mining. So development mining is a lower extraction ratio because those entries have to be maintained long term. That's your main travel ways. That's where our main line belts are installed in. So we develop out and create production blocks. So then we have production mining in the blocks where you do production panels. There's about 1 million tons in one production panel. It takes a year to mine it. And it's about a mile long. So you mine that production panel, pull out, and then just let it close in over time because there's no reason to ever go back there. So you got to maintain our long-term development entries, but your production panels close in over time and you never go back there.
Basically letting the earth reclaim itself in a way, because there's not a whole lot to do with it. It's just rock around there. It's not like you have to clean a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously you want to clean up whatever's been left behind, but then the rock will kind of just take care of itself.
We pull out our equipment, we pull out our hardware, and then over time the rock, just with the stresses, it just slowly closes in on itself.
So like potash is coming back. So that means that over 50 years, you keep moving farther away from the place where you enter the mine.
Yeah, we have two shafts right now. Our our production shaft, which has the skips and the hoist for bringing out the ore, and then our service shaft where we bring people and equipment down to the mine. So we're slowly going further and further away from those shafts. So we're mining to the north, to the south, and to the west. So over the decades, our mine footprint has grown significantly. So right now it's about 20 kilometers north to south and 14 kilometers east to west. And as we go further away, travel time is further and further. That's why bore automation Teller Road is so critical for safety and production. Number one, safety. It gets people away from the face where the highest hazard is in mining. And then productivity wise, we have surface tower remote stations where we can operate a bore from surface. So while the crews traveling out there, we can continue to operate the bore during shift change or during breaks. So this teleremote technology is a game changer for safety and productivity. But as the mine continues to grow and grow, eventually in a few decades, we may have to sink another shaft just for ventilation purposes and getting people and equipment closer to where the action is.
And that's those, I guess. Thanks again to Les Frehlich of Allan Potash to give us that update there on what happens there on a day-to-day basis. We're going to take a quick break and hear from the Iowa Soybean Association, and then we'll be back with the closing markets. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. We're back on Ag Matters PM, and it's time to talk with Jason Meyer of agmarket.net. And Jason, what did we see happen in those grains today?
Dustin, it's all about the soy market today. A nice day in soy, up about 10, and corn's up about 5. And the big reason for the up in the markets today is Trump and Z are actually going to meet next Thursday, the 30th, at the APEC meeting in South Korea. So that was a lot of positive in the marketplace today.
And of course, we know that soybeans and a lot of ag groups have been watching this, but soybeans especially, because there hasn't been one bean bought since these tariffs went into place. And it's not just a trade, but they've got a lot of things to talk about. I know Russia and Ukraine are going to be something that's on the table as well. Both countries, I think, getting a little wary of what's happening over there, and are probably looking for some kind of resolution there, which would be good for wheat markets and things as well.
That is true there, Dustin. There's a lot of political footballs that I like to say are being thrown about right now. Everybody is positive that the footballs are going to land in the right positions here. But there's still a lot of uncertainty in the market, and we kind of saw that yesterday when Trump was tweeting about the cattle market. So there's hope in the grain markets that we can continue this rally. We're seeing some potential business being done in the Gulf of Mexico here today. So, New Orleans. So definitely some positive stuff surrounding grain, but one tweet could take it all away here.
Isn't that the truth? And moving over to the livestock, you hinted at the situation with Trump tweeting yesterday, and with the talk that's been going on for almost a week now, that we could be bringing in Argentina beef. Now, NCBA, a couple other organizations have come out and said it's really not going to make much of a difference at the counter like President Trump says it might.
That's true. Right now, we import about 2% of all our beef from Argentina. Trump is talking about taking that up to 8%. So in the grand scheme of things, it's really not a ton meat-wise, but just having the government intervention in the meat market has a lot of longs a little bit concerned about the price direction.
I guess the thing that makes it curious for me is that we normally bring in beef from Mexico, and obviously the border is shut down, and that has affected prices and sent things up higher. What is the big stink about bringing it in from somewhere else if we can't bring it in from Mexico right now?
That's a good question there. A lot of retailers here in the United States like that country of origin label. They wanted to say, hey, the beef is coming from the United States of America. But yeah, we should be able to import beef from anywhere from an economical standpoint. That's what makes sense. But the American farmer is not going to want to hear that, because they want the highest price that they can get for the beef here. But just anytime the government's got to intervene in anything, it's usually not for the best.
Yeah, and it kind of brings me back to those the days of Reagan when they said the 9 worst words were "I'm from the government and I'm here to help" or something like that. I remember him saying a lot. But outside of the beef and what's affecting the market in those tweets, how did cattle and hogs fare today?
Livestock markets were hit pretty hard. The hogs continue their march down here every day. From a technical standpoint, we can't get above the 9-day exponential moving average. Then the cattle markets try to trade both sides here today. Actually, nearby fats were a little bit higher, but all the deferred months in fats were all significantly lower, and the feeder market was significantly lower as well. But when you look at cattle, the fundamental situation is not going to change in the next month to two. It's going to be, if any changes are going to be made, it's going to be in the back end, and that's where we're seeing the most movement.
All right, well, folks want to pick the minds of everybody there at agmarket.net. Some of the intel you guys have got, what's the best way for them to do that?
Go to our website, agmarket.net, and check us out and give myself or one of my teammates a call, and we'd be happy to speak with you.
All right, Jason Meyer's been our guest here today. Jason, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Dustin. Everybody have a great day now.
And that again was Jason Meyer of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, December corn up a nickel at 4.28 even. Soybeans up a dime for November at 10.44 3/4. Soybean meal up $2.30 at 2.92.30. Soy oil up 80 cents at 50.87. Chicago wheat up 9 1/4 at 5.13 even. Kansas winter wheat up 11 1/2 at $5 even. Kansas spring wheat up 8 3/4 at 5.40 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat up 10 1/4 at 5.58 even. Oats up 5 1/2 at 3.07 1/2. On the Merc live cattle, $1.35 higher at 241.17. Feeders down $2.77 at 361.45. Lean hogs down 62 cents at 81.77. Pork cutouts unchanged at $94 even, and Class 3 milk 22 cents higher at 17.36. And that's been our closing market recap, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, and our YouTube channel. Make sure you click and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified each time we put out a new digital product. You can also check out our free market podcasts and replays of Iowa Ag Matters, Weekend Ag Matters, and much more. Again, all online at iowaagnet.com. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson, Riley Smith, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.